Hi everyone, today let's talk about Fed Pal's comments, then we'll review the max pain for the week, then we'll do a quick overview of the charts, then we'll look at my results for the day and my thoughts going into the Monday session. Don't forget to check out the Patreon and the Twitter linked in the description. And if you like trading stocks and options and making money, definitely like and subscribe. I make videos like this every single day that the markets are open as well as Sundays, so make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Welcome to the Portfolio Bulletin. Let's get started. So the big takeaway from Jerome Powell's speech is that he said he doesn't think we'll have to raise rates as much as expected to curb inflation. And basically, this is telling markets that we're going to pause at this level. He also mentioned that the Fed is using their tools to stabilize the banking sector, and so far he thinks that's going well. He did mention that there is still potential for changes in the future and that it is still highly uncertain. And on balance, inflation is still too high. So overall, not much has changed. We're still expecting a shallow recession, and that is what the Fed is putting out, and still mentioning the fact that we might pause at current levels. Moving over to max pain, you can see we finished right at 418, and it's slipping here a little bit after hours, so right into this dip here, 417.50, where all these calls expire worthless, but really all of these puts, which were the majority of the options in the market, expire worthless. Clear level. Talked about 415 to 420 being an area where we could finish, and sure enough, we finished right in this zone. So quickly going over the charts here, and we'll get much deeper into these in the Sunday video, but just to recap, we basically fell throughout the session, landed at my support zone. We're slipping a little bit after hours, but landed right on it. So for Monday, looking to see if this holds and we push back up into that 420, 421 area. You can see this trend line that I'm watching as well as horizontal support at 421.85. If it breaks, 418.69 is the next level, clearly being respected here. Momentum is bearish, so overall you would expect this to break, retest the 55 EMA maybe, sitting at 415.54. And then looking at the 12-hour chart, you can see the 9 EMA and VWAP sitting around that 415.52 level as well. So a little bit of correlation here, watching that for potential support. And then we'll see whether that breaks down or we get a continuation rally. Moving over to the NASDAQ, very similar thesis. We hit this level after hours, broke down from that level. We're retesting the 9 EMA here on the 4-hour chart. Looking at the daily chart, you can see we've broken out here. We did put like an inside day, kind of a doji candle here. Candle of indecision after 4 really strong bullish days. We're pretty extended now. Certainly wouldn't surprise me if we could see a little bit of a pullback or at least some sideways chop, kind of like we did here where we had explosive moves. Sideways price action for the next couple of days. We're also overbought here on the RSI read. Momentum is still super bullish, so definitely could continue higher on Monday. But right now it does seem like we have at least a little bit of short-term weakness, and watching that 337.95 level for a potential breakout or a retest of that 334.42 level. Moving over to the Russell and the Dow, you can see the Russell wicked that next high and then rejected from there, took out that mid-level as well as this level kind of. We're right in this zone now. We have a lot of EMAs and SMAs for support down here. Momentum is fading, which is interesting. So 174.34 would be your support. We also have EMAs and SMAs right here at around 174.87. But overall, this is a high, and we're looking for that higher low setup and potentially a move higher, in my opinion. Similarly, here on the Dow, we have a low, which was slightly higher than this previous low. If it comes back down to 332.44, find support here, higher low setup. Then we break out and make a higher high up around 339.11. Does certainly seem possible. Momentum is bearish, so I still expect more pullback, and RSI is now below the 50 line as well. So, like I said, at least some short-term pullback, and if it takes out this low, then we're back into that downtrend scenario. Moving over to Apple and Tesla, you can see we tested that upper resistance, and now we're coming back down, in my opinion, to the 21 EMA around 173.29, as well as trend support, as well as this previous high. We'll see if that level holds and we start to push higher once again. But right now, slight pullback does seem like the setup. Looking at Tesla, on the other hand, we broke out of this resistance. Looks like we're going back up to 187. Momentum, still bullish. RSI definitely hitting overbought conditions, which is interesting, but still very bullish in trend. And like I said, we're above 177.70 now, and I'd be looking for that to hold as we push up to this next resistance. Moving over to staples and discretionary, you can see we're starting to hold here at the 144 EMA, which is interesting. Might see a little bit of a pullback, maybe retest the 21 or 55 EMAs, sitting at 76.43 or 76.77 back in this previous zone. Discretionary, on the other hand, got close to my resistance line, pulled back to support. We're now at this trend line, which I would expect to hold. If this breaks down, then we come back into this demand zone. Now that we've made a new high, we break down. This becomes demand. Then we start to continue higher. That would be interesting. Similar thesis to the others, though. Momentum is bearish. RSI below the SMA. Seems like a little bit of a pullback might happen. But overall, we're looking at higher highs here and higher lows. Moving over to sectors here, you can see energy doing a little bit better. This was the best performing here today. Higher low setup, starting to rally a little bit. That's interesting. You can also see that momentum is also flipping bullish. RSI, nice little cross. See if we get a gap continuation. That would be interesting. Communications, on the other hand, starting to pull back a little bit. Maybe we see a pullback to 60.30. Down at the 9 EMA around 60.08. Momentum is still bullish, but it does seem like we're a little bit extended here, looking for a bit of a pullback, similar to what we saw here. Moving over to the dollar here, we actually got a little bit of a pullback from my resistance zone. We did come down and test support, which held. So right now we could definitely see this continue to hold and push back up, but we are seeing a little bit of weakness here on the daily chart, slipping down just a little bit on momentum. RSI also pulled back a little bit, and this could go a little bit further before we hit the SMA. So keeping an eye on this one. If this level breaks, definitely some area before we find major support. But right now it has not broken quite yet, and this is still a shorter term bullish trend. Moving over to JNK and TLT, you can see JNK continuing to hold in this zone. It did get above my 91 level. So we have a little bit of a double bottom, a little bit of a rally here. We haven't taken out the highs yet from this zone, but it certainly could move higher here, which is interesting, maybe up to 91.46, which might confirm a little bit of a rally in equities. Treasuries, on the other hand, are starting to fall off a cliff. You can see that here. We're getting close to this previous zone from mid-February. I wouldn't expect major support until we get down to around $100.35. And if this continues here below this zone, that's going to be a huge move down. We have a clear double top. You could argue that this is a head and shoulders type pattern in this previous top. And if it takes out this zone here, that's going to be super bearish. So keeping an eye on this one pretty closely. Right now, definitely looks very bearish going into the Monday session. Moving over to the VIX, we came down into this 1575 area, set up a slightly higher low versus the lows back around 1 May. Now we're moving back into this area. We wicked the mid-range here. So this is interesting. Setting up a higher low, potentially showing some strength going into Monday. That would be definitely bearish for stocks. So keep a close eye on this one. And like I said, we'll talk about the longer term charts on the Sunday video. Moving over to my accounts, I was able to recoup some of my losses from yesterday, which is good. Made a few bucks in my individual account as well as my IRA, somewhere around $380 or so. You can see all those puts and calls that expired worthless here today. I took some of them off early just as a precaution. And then I put on an IWM position down at 147, which isn't a small loser right now, but we'll see how that plays out. Otherwise, what I have on for Monday, which I did end up taking a few positions here, I have 2 puts and calls at 333 and 340, and then 1 put here left at 332. So we'll see how this plays out. Still neutral going into Monday, but I do think we might see a little bit more of a pullback, so I'll be keeping an eye on that. Overall, not a bad day for me though. Let me know down in the comments if you think we've hit our terminal rate with the Fed, or if we're going to get another hike in June. Definitely like and subscribe if you got any value out of this video, and make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Definitely check out the Sunday video. It'll be a good one. And of course, none of this is financial advice. This is all for entertainment purposes. Good luck in your trading and have a great day.